we'll see what people have to say about this, since this is when was this video made? June 7th this year. Okay, cool. So it's very, very recent. So let's see what they have to say.
As a black person.
Okay. First of all,
honestly, it is what it is. Like, me being black in Japan.
If we were like a bunch of white dudes walking around, maybe we'll get.
Any black person out there who's watching your channel and wants to come here, I don't think there's any reason to worry.
Hey guys, how are you doing? I'm TAKESHii from Japan. Today I'm going to interview black people in Japan. What's it like being black in Japan? And then I got many comments asking black people what's it like living in Japan. Something like that. So I decided to make a video this topic. Okay, let's find out today. On my channel, I interview Japanese people and foreigners in Japan. So it's the best channel for anyone who wants to come to Japan whether traveling or living. And you can also learn Japanese here. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to my channel. And on my Instagram, I show my daily life in Tokyo and share information about Japan. So if you haven't followed yet, please follow it too. Okay, let's get started. Okay, thank you for your help. Where from?
I'm from America.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
How long have you been in Japan?
This will be my 6th year in Japan.
6 years? Oh, 6 years?
6 years.
Oh, long.
Yeah.
Long. Can I ask what you do?
So I teach middle school and high school kids, not conversation English, but like academic English and academic writing and stuff like that.
Okay. So you're from America. So you're black American. What's it like? What's it like living in Japan as a black American? You have any opinion?
I have many opinions.
Sure.
When I first moved here, I felt like a spectacle. I felt like a lot of people were looking at me.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, I just felt like a lot of people were looking at me, but now that I've lived here for so long, it just feels like where I would live anywhere else, people are just gonna look because they have this notion of black people. So there's always like, oh, well, can she do this? Or can she speak Japanese? Or stuff like that. So like, honestly, it is what it is. Like, me being black in Japan wouldn't be any different from me being black in like Europe or China or anything to me personally, because I just think that people are going to look anyway. They're going to make assumptions about me anyway. So, I mean, you might as well give them a show.
Okay.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. No matter where you go, people have a tendency to look. When I was walking on the streets earlier today myself, just in America, people were looking. I felt like people were looking out of their cars at me. I felt like definitely people on the street were looking at me. I got the usual, girl, you should smile. Put a smile on your face. I got the usual shit. You know, the area that I live in, older men are going to do that shit, are going to say that shit. But anyway, basically, I agree with her. Just people are going to assume that because you're black and you're very, very objectively out of place, people are going to make their assumptions about you and they don't know what to expect from you. So, if I don't know what to expect from you, I'm just going to stay away from you. I will just look, wow, I've never seen someone who looked like that before, and then move on. But she's right. Things are going to happen like that no matter where you go. And it's good that she can, take it on the chin. It's good that she's gotten used to it. But it was definitely something that I encountered when I was in Japan.
I wanted to ask you this question specifically.
Okay.
In Tokyo, young Japanese people, they do, their hair like dread.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think it's... Yeah, what do you think?
Some people say like, oh, it's appropriation, and other people will say like, oh no, it's appreciation. I personally don't like it, but I can't make anybody do anything. So I'll just sit and look and mind my business.
Last question, do you speak Japanese?
もちろん。住んでるから。
住んでる。
住んでるから話せる。
でも住んでる人でも話せない人いっぱいいるじゃないですか。
そうですね。本当に悪いと思うから。
良くないと思う。それは。
良くないから。Anybody, if you live here for longer than 3 years, I personally think that you should learn more Japanese.
Absolutely.
Don't be that 25-year-old that like, I don't know any Japanese, and you live here for like 50 years and like, I'll never learn. Like, that's stupid. I think that's stupid.
Agreed.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
That's
okay, thank you for your help. Where from?
I'm
If you're going to be in someone else's country, learn the language.
I'm from right outside D.C.
How long have you been in Japan?
I've been in Japan since 2016.
2016.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Oh, I am an English teacher. I work with little kids, and I teach them English. But forget all that. I'm a rapper. I'm a recording artist, a singer, whatever you want to call it. I go by Jay the Protagonist.
He's just marketing himself
all
on
platforms,
this thing.
Spotify,
Oh
iTunes,
my
everything
god,
like
this
that.
guy.
So I'd like to ask you about life in Japan. As
This
a black
guy
person.
straight up fucking
How
marketing
do
himself,
Japanese people
advertising
see
himself.
black people? What do you think?
Well, when it comes to stuff like that, my perception, I don't really know how they see me. That's a very good question. No, I've never actually asked a Japanese adult how they see me or something like that. And no one's ever really told me either. So but I do imagine a lot of people, when they hear the word foreigner, they might think of a white person. Generally,
Yeah, that's
generally. Yeah. Like usually when they're like hiring for a job or something like that, and they want like hire a foreigner, in their mind they want like a white guy. You know what I'm saying? They're not usually not picturing like a black guy or something like that. When they foreign, foreign and a white person, they're like synonymous. You know what I'm saying? They're like interchangeable.
That's true.
Yeah, but like I said, all my friends and like all my homies were like rappers and artists. So usually when we go someplace like together or like in a group, we're performing, right? So we get a lot of love and we get a lot of support. Hip hop is very popular. It's global. You know what I'm saying? So no matter where we go, what we do, we get love. So it's been mostly positive. Like I said, I think if we were like a bunch of white dudes walking around, maybe we'll be treated a little better, but we're not exactly treated bad. You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
I see. Like, hip hop in general, it's trending in Japan.
Yeah.
And many, guys, Japanese guys, they listen hip hop and then, they getting know about, black culture, like including hip hops,
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a cultural thing. In America, actually, they like black people as a culture.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily like us as a people. But when it comes to embracing,
I mean, I think that's I don't know. I think that's kind of getting into the weeds, but I do want to say a little bit something on that. I feel like I don't know. It's really hard to say. Like, there is a lot of respect for black culture. There is in the United States. And I think people do appreciate that. I think they view it as historically interesting and worthy of respect and attention. But I think it's a little kind of strange to say that they prefer the culture more than the actual people. And I know black people do encounter their hardships. We'll put it that way, to put it lightly. They encounter a lot of shit. They get accused for things. That's just kind of what happens. But it's not just black people that happens to, but it is largely happening, more frequently happening to black people. So I can see where this guy is coming from when it comes to like, oh, well, yeah, they like the culture, but they don't like us as a people. I can see where he's coming from, but at the end of the day, we still have the same rights as anyone else. We're still able to get hired anywhere we want to get hired. We can go wherever we want. We are not persecuted for having white friends. It's just like, things are a lot better now than they were 50 years ago, 60, 70 years ago. And I find it really disrespectful to people who actually died for the sake of people like this guy and me to be able to literally go to any restaurant we want, to not be in segregated places, to be able to get hired wherever we want to get hired for our skill. But, things are gradually moving towards, they want to be diverse and inclusive. So sometimes you'll get hired somewhere just because you look a certain way, which I don't like. I don't care for that personally. But I don't like it when people are saying, I don't like when black people say, oh, well, people they don't like us as a people. Like, dude, people literally died back then, 50, 60, 70 years ago, so that you can freely walk the streets, more or less, without having to worry about without having to worry about pretty much anything, to get hired, to have opportunities, to be able to just be able to go to the same bathroom or use the same water fountain as a white person. Dude, I think people need to have more respect and more and more understanding for those people who actually were going through it, and to appreciate what they have now. I think there's not enough of that personally.
And us as people, who we actually are, we got a lot of work. It's kind of the same here, but I'd imagine there's not as many black folks here in Japan as there are white folks. We just need a few more of us out here just to, show what our actual culture and our actual way of living is like, But we all people, we all the same, you know what I'm saying? So it's not really much of a difference. Yeah, everywhere.
Okay. Last question. Do you speak Japanese?
My Japanese is very low. Actually with my job, we're encouraged to only speak English. Most of the Japanese I learn is from my students. So when I speak to an adult, I got to be very careful of what I'm saying to make sure it doesn't sound like stupid or silly or cute or something like that, Okay. So it's tough,
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Man.
Really appreciate
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for your help. Where are you from?
I'm from Kenya.
I'm also from Kenya.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
How long have you been in Japan?
Right now, 2 months, but I have been here before. In 2020, I was here for 9 months, and then now I'm back. It's been 2 months.
It's been 2 months. So in total, almost a year?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Well, I've been here, I think in total, this is my 5th year.
What's it like being African in Japan? What's it like being black in Japan? Do you have any opinion on that, first of all?
It's definitely a bit different for us being black compared to the white people. But then it's not bad, I'd say. My personal experience, you'd get a few stares sometimes, but mostly no one cares. So that's good.
Yeah. I haven't had any negative experiences in terms of my racial identity because, in my opinion, Japanese are very welcoming, and even the stares that you get, it's not malicious.
It's mostly curious.
It's people are just curious.
Curiosity.
Yeah. So if you look at it in that way, because if it's not something you see every day, so when you see someone different, of course you're going to be curious. So it's not something malicious, and people are friendly. There have been so many cases where I've been helped.
So many times.
Yes, so many times. I've been helped by strangers, by Japanese. And I think that is something that I'm really grateful for. And the country itself, the systems, they have systems in place to help foreigners. Yeah, so any black person out there who's watching your channel and wants to come here, I don't think there's any reason to worry. Yeah, because Japan is very welcoming, in my opinion.
Nice.
Yeah.
Next question. When Japanese people refer the word foreigners, it's usually European or American, Western people, or maybe Asian, Chinese or Koreans. When I ask Japanese people about black people or African people, from my perspective, they don't have much knowledge. They don't have much experience to seeing them. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a good question. But at the same time, I feel like, just as she said, this is not something, or these are not people they see so many of, because even when you walk through a station, you might see maybe just one other black person apart from you. So if they haven't seen as many black people, they don't know what to expect. And so I'm not so sure, but I'd love to ask a Japanese person what they think.
You wanna know too?
So we need to differentiate between the blacks also. So
Yeah, true.
yeah, because there's black African and there's black American. This is just my opinion, my view. I think a lot of
there is a
Japanese have more
difference.
experience with black Americans, and they can sort of identify more with them because of the media. They consume their movies, the movies, the music from black American, right?
That's
But
a good-
not
that's a good distinction to
black
make.
African. And if you tell them you're from Africa, I think the first thing that comes to their mind is the national parks, the animals,
The parks, true.
the parks, and that's what Africa is best known for. That's what Kenya is.
Not just for Japanese people, right?
Even
not
to other
just for,
Africans.
even to other tourists, even to other white people, to other foreigners I meet who are not Africans. Probably, I think if we need to change the perception, the Japanese perception towards black Africans, we need to put ourselves, our culture, our normal life in out there, not just the
The
tourist.
tourist side of it.
Yeah,
Actual life.
actual life.
True.
Last question, do you speak Japanese?
No. Maybe ask me this question in like 1 year. And the answer will be yes, I speak Japanese.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Yeah, I really like I like the commentary that these ladies gave. Like they made like this lady here made a very good point. Distinction between Black Americans and Black Africans. There is definitely a distinction. This woman here said something that I wanted to comment on.
Fasting
This
Perspective in them.
I feel like, just as she said, this is not something, or these are not people they see so many of, because even when you walk through a station, you might see maybe just one other black person apart from you. So if they haven't seen as many black people, they don't know what to expect.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that is a good point. Like, Japan is a very homogeneous country. You're not gonna see like the other guy said before. Like when people think foreigners, they're gonna think a white person. And that's just typically what they think. Like, and it's gotten to, like, I think the Japanese people have seen more foreign, typically white people than they've seen foreign black people. Obviously, like, there's no question that if you're black in Japan, you're a foreigner. There's no question about it. But you could be white in Japan and not be a foreigner, for all intents and purposes. It's possible. So, like, I think it's just important to remember that Japanese people are not typically going to be seeing people who look like us, and I think it's important to keep that in mind and to be open about it. And the thing about it is that most Japanese people are just not going to really like worry too much about it, because they don't like conflict. They prefer to keep conflict at a minimum. So you're not gonna run into a Japanese person who's going to just be inherently malicious, like this the other lady said. When people stare at you, they're not doing so maliciously, they're just curious. So it's just important to keep that in mind. And I agree with this. When I went to Japan myself, I was in Asakusa when I was living in Tokyo Prefecture. For a week. I was visiting for a week before I went back to America, and I was there with my friends. Basically all of my friends were either white or one of my friends was Korean American, and I think everyone else was pretty much white. And I got randomly stopped by a Japanese person asking to take a picture with me because they hadn't ever seen a black person before. And they were touring the area, and they asked to just take a picture with me because they'd never had that experience seeing a black person before. And obviously, this wasn't like a kid or anything. This was like an adult, and they apparently had just never seen anyone who looked like me before. So it's just definitely important to keep that in mind if you ever decide to go to Japan, and not get offended by it. Just kind of take it in stride, and just understand that people are otherwise just going to be curious about you. And it definitely helps to know Japanese, though. Like, if you're going to be there and you know Japanese, that's going to make them they're going to find that really impressive. So please do try to learn some Japanese before you go. I think Japanese people will really appreciate that, that you taking the time to try to learn their language. And, I do find, also, I want to comment one other thing on about culture. This lady said that she thinks it's important for Black Africans to show Japanese people, the Black African culture, to like know who they are as actual people. I do agree with that, but I also think that it's also valuable for people who come to a country that they're not from to be willing to understand their culture, which it seems like these two ladies have. They seem to be very kind of chill about the attention that they get, and they've been helped and they've interacted with other Japanese people. But I also think it's just very important for people to keep in mind that you obviously want to. It's important to take the time to learn Japanese culture, to understand Japanese culture as much as it is for them to be open-minded and understanding about the culture that you may be from, whether it's American, whether it's from Kenya or any other country that you may be hailing from. I think it's important that we're all just open to learn about each other. We're all just humans after all, and we all just want to really understand each other. And yeah, but I think if you're gonna be in a country for over like a long period of time, you should definitely take the time to learn the language, just out of respect. Just to kind of like make your life a little bit easier, and also to just show the people who this is their home, this is their land essentially, that you have like some manner of respect for their culture as well. And I think they'll be even more willing to show you the same respect and kind. At least personally, at least I would think so.
Jamaica.
Nice to meet you. What brought you to Japan?
First, I took a flight from. I'm kidding.
Okay.
I actually wanted to escape Jamaica, and I wanted to expand my worldview, so to speak.
How long have you been in Japan?
A long time, like over 10 years.
Over 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
What's it like living in Japan as a black person?
Okay. First of all, a lot of times I forget what color I am because Japanese people are not outwardly racist, thank God. And so I often forget what color I am. But in any case, I've had many more positive experiences. In fact, Japanese people give me more positive qualities or more superstar qualities than I have. Like they think I can definitely play basketball, or they think I'm probably a good singer, or they think I'm somehow athletically blessed or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, not surprising. Most Japanese people only have what pop culture has fed them, and it's usually those positive stereotypes, which if you're open to it, it's not surprising that some Japanese people would just assume that everything that they've seen in pop culture applies to every black person. It's very, very funny, charming, like sometimes, but it just goes to show how homogeneous the country is, and there's always more to learn.
That's kind of like
Positive stereotype.
Yeah, positive stereotype Japanese have towards black people,
which is good.
Yeah.
I'll prefer positive stereotypes than negative.
The more
personally,
you interact with Japanese people and you enter their social circle, the more they treat you like one of them. There are certain social rules that you have to accept.
Absolutely.
Japanese society is based on a lot of social rules, and even a Japanese person who doesn't behave in the way that is expected, even they will be rejected.
Yeah.
I believe there is a saying that the nail that sticks up gets hammered down. So the best thing you can do in Japan is try not to stand out in a bad way. And if you just behave like Japanese people, then you'll be accepted. But not like you're mimicking them, because that's a totally different thing. Accepting the unspoken social rules. So things like taking off your shoes before you go inside, things like wearing a mask if you have a cold, don't talk loudly on the train, for the love of God.
Yes.
I'm the only foreigner who lives in my apartment complex, and I wondered why they accepted me. I remember back when I was signing a contract with a real estate agency, I heard her saying on the phone to the owner, "Takedo, daijoubu desu. Nihonjin poi dakara daijoubu desu." And then I was wondering, Nihonjin poi? Is it me, my face, or what? But then I realized,
yeah, it's the way he acted.
Japanese people accept if you behave just like them, but in fact you're a guest in the country, so you should behave better.
True. Wow. Well said, my dude. Like, seriously, this is exactly how I approach this whole thing. Like, 100%. If you're going to someone else's country, do as they do, be as they are. Obviously, be who you are, but understand the rules of that country and be sensitive to what's going on in that country. This guy is fucking great. This is a great, well-to-do, understanding, open-minded guy, and yeah, it's very, very interesting. Like the reason why this guy said he wondered why the real estate agency accepted him. The reason why he said that, I don't know if you're familiar, but basically what happens in Japan typically when it comes to foreigners is that they're usually people who sell apartments to people. They are typically very hesitant to allow foreigners to live in an apartment because it's fairly common. Like the negative stereotype, I will say, the negative stereotype of foreigners is that they're unreliable and that they will talk loudly. They will be very obnoxious, and most importantly, they probably will not pay. They will not pay their payments on time, so they'll be unreliable. So it's basically kind of a negative stereotype that has permeated Japan for various reasons because of various people, that foreigners are typically not to be trusted when it comes to allowing them to live in a certain apartment or owning a house or whatever it may be. So basically, that's why that guy was essentially like saying I was surprised that they let me through, and again, he said the lady saying he carries himself like a Japanese person would, which again, if you understand the rules, if you take the time to learn the rules, if you learn the language and you show respect for just those social norms, then people will treat you and accept you as you are. And I think that goes for any country, really.
Last question. Do you speak Japanese?
少しですね。日本語、
どうやって日本語学びました？
デートとか、
デート？
デート。
Dude, he's gone on dates. What?
Okay, thank you for watching so far. How was it? That was
He learned
interesting.
Japanese
I'm also
on
planning
dates?
to interview
Wow.
Latino people, asking them like what's it like being Latin in Japan, like as I did asking like Asian people. If you are from Latin country, can you like give me some question idea that I can interview? I can ask them. Okay, anyway, thank you for watching. If you like this video, click like button. Please subscribe to my channel. And if you have any question that you want me to ask people in Japan, please leave a comment too. See you next time.
Yeah. So like I've watched this guy's videos in the past. I believe it's his name is TAKESHii.
What's it like?
Yeah, TAKESHii from Japan. So I've watched his videos once before on my streams, and I mean he does good work. I like his videos. I enjoy them. I find them entertaining, and I think most importantly I find them insightful. It's nice to be reminded how things are in Japan. I do miss Japan. I felt more at home in Japan than I do or did in America, and it would be nice to go back again. I don't know if I'd want to live there, but it would be nice to go back sometime. But everything in due time, I suppose. But yeah, TAKESHii from Japan. Let me actually give a like to this video. I don't want to forget that. It was a very, very good video. I kind of want to look through the comments real quick. Okay, a difference between Black African and Black American is something not so often reflected upon. Yes. True. I like that. 100% what the first girl said. If you're a foreigner and been living in Japan or any foreign country for over 3 years, you're just making excuses to not learn language. True. Agreed. Absolutely. Facts. I love it. Yeah, but if you're a guest in the country, you should behave better. 100%. I wish every guest in another country would be like this man. Yeah, the last dude was really, really cool. I really did enjoy the last guy. He was a very stand-up guy. He's been in Japan for 10 years. So, he's even gone on dates, which is crazy, man. Which is, I'm kudos to that guy. The Jamaican brethren got it right and explained this perfectly. While I have experienced some unfortunate situations in Japan, It pales in comparison to actual racism I've experienced in New York, for example. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, thankfully, Japanese people are not, typically, like, the majority of Japanese people are not openly racist. If they are racist, it's mainly kept to themselves. But, as those of you who have had any sort of pulse on what's going on in the world or just nationally in the United States, you will know that racism is, or just the prevalence of racial tensions has been gotten quite high. I don't know about behave better. I like to behave properly regardless of locale. I agree with that, Dave. I think what he meant by behave better is the idea that, Japanese people already inherently know how to comport themselves in a country, but, you understand the situation they're going through, though? Okay, never mind. I will, got it. All right, you would like to behave properly regardless of locale. True. I do agree with you there, Dave. Like, people just, Americans mainly, just think that, they can just go anywhere and expect people to be okay with how they act. And I think more people who travel, who are young especially, just need to have a better sense of, cultural norms and just be willing to be more open-minded and be more sensitive to the fact that, how they act in America may not be as ideal or liked, just to put it simply, in another country, for sure. I'm a Black American man who lived in Tokyo for 2 years and loved it. Of course, I had some people stare at me and some kids point at him, but nothing to make you feel for your life. I did get a lot of Japanese people who want to take pictures with you. Good luck. Good video, TAKESHii. Oh, so another fellow Black person who is who's been asked for people to take pictures with him. I am another Black person who has been asked by a Japanese person to have their picture taken with me, so I understand. Very smart people you interviewed. I wish more people realize that stares aren't necessarily malicious. True. They are often just curious, and if you put an effort into being a part of the community by learning the language and wanting to be there, then being discriminated is incredibly rare. Yes. Too bad social media conditions people into thinking you must be hated as X or Y person, thus ending up exactly like that. Yeah, social media is not really doing much for the conversation with, just the general idea of understanding other people. Social media is really not doing anything to really help that. And, it's, I wish more people would, kind of, unplug from social media to kind of get a better sense of just how good they've got it and, just how lucky they are to live in a country like the US. But, even now, even as I say that, like, I even second guess myself in that idea. But I do know that with all the compounding flaws that the United States is essentially building upon as time goes on, all in all, there is a lot of freedom to be had in the United States. And, we could have been born in a third world country. We could have been born into India's caste system and basically subjected to being, the lowest of the low for the rest of our lives. People are born into those situations, and I think it's important to just be more grateful for what you have and where you've been born and the opportunities that if you work hard and you create those opportunities for yourself, then they can be given to you. All right. I think that's enough of the comments. Everyone seems to be on the same page as me. No one really seems to be in direct conflict of what's being shared here. I like what everyone is saying, and I think I've said enough on this topic.